Good evening. This is a very special evening tonight, and I want to call this meeting to order for the Board of Mayor and Aldermen for Tuesday, May the 10th, 2022. I'm going to do the roll call first. Alderman Peterson.
Present.
Alderman Hanson.
Present.
Alderman Barnhill.
Present.
Vice Mayor Blanton.
Here.
Alderman Berger.
Present.
Alderman Brown.
Present.
Alderman Potts.
Present.
And Alderman Baggett.
Present.
Just a little bit of, we're doing something a little different tonight. We're honored to have the colors tonight being presented by Centennial High School's Color Guard. Their members are Command Sergeant Major Drew Osteen, Major Tyler Brinkman, Captain Jose Segoviano, Master Sergeant Anna Bianco, and Sergeant First Class Emily Rank, and they're accompanied by retired Master Sergeant John O'Keefe with us tonight from the Junior ROTC program from Centennial. And then we're also honored tonight to have Reverend Dr. Vonna Wilson with us. And I'm going to break a little bit of protocol because I'm going to actually do a proclamation before we have the invocation and the colors. So I'd ask Vonna, come on up, please. So this is to get you prepared spiritually.
Usually I'm doing that for you.
And not, yeah, definitely, I need it. And it's not a blah, blah, blah. But before we started, I wanted to do a proclamation. And whereas today we honor Reverend Dr. Vonna R. Wilson, a very special person who has unselfishly given her time and talents to the community over the 33 years of leadership experience in the public, private, and nonprofit sector. Whereas prior to full-time ministry, Dr. Wilson served in a variety of roles, all focused on serving the community and facilitating change. And whereas a former paramedic, Dr. Wilson served as the Director of Emergency Medical Services in Williamson County and serves as the Director of Organizational Improvement for Williamson Medical Center, in which she helped facilitate change through strategic planning and leadership development. And whereas Dr. Wilson then answered the call of God to take her experience into full-time ministry, and whereas Dr. Wilson has served on the clergy staff with Franklin United Methodist Church for a total of 15 years, also at Bethlehem United Methodist Church, and also was a chaplain for the YMCA of Middle Tennessee. Whereas Dr. Wilson will be leaving her current role as the Senior Associate Pastor of Franklin First United Methodist Church and will be appointed as the District Superintendent of the Harpeth River District based in Pulaski, but we're not letting her go there. She's staying here by order of the Mayor. And now therefore I, Dr. Ken Moore, Mayor of the City of Franklin, do hereby commend Reverend Dr. Vonna Wilson and publicly recognize her for her dedicated service and for contributing greatly to the caring nature of our community. And I urge all citizens of Franklin to join us in thanking her for her service. So. Now let's see if you can pray after that.
I don't know if that's fair or not. I'm deeply honored by this, and I thank you. You shocked me. You surprised me, and I thank you so much. This community means a great, great deal to me, as do all of you. So let's pray. Do you always stand when you pray for the invocation?
Just for you.
Holy God, it is a joy for us and an honor to pause from our busy days of work and before we do the business of the city of Franklin to say thank you. We thank you for the beautiful day. We thank you for the privilege it has been today to do meaningful work in all of the places and spaces from where we come. We thank you, Lord, for the blessings that you have given us as a community, to walk into a room and see friends, to meet new people every day and establish new relationships, and for the ways you have blessed us with peace, and you have led us through difficulty and challenge, and you have seemed to always show us a better way. So we pray tonight that you would continue that blessing. We especially just give gratitude tonight for those who make this a safe place for us to be. All of the people that speak into and serve in public service and public safety, we are so grateful for them. And for those families in that family of service who have gone through so much in these past couple of years, we especially just thank you for bringing them through and for the sacrifices they have made on our behalf. We pray that your wisdom would continue to guide us, that when we have disagreement, that you would help us somehow to be sharpened by one another and to find a way that is better than any one of us, but that all of us together learn something new that perhaps others would be blessed by knowing. We trust you. We trust you, God, and we are grateful for the wisdom that you guide with when we ask, and for the people who have answered a call to serve. We pray this in the name of the Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Forward, march, left, 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 right. Mark time, march. Guard, up, left, face, present, colors. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all. Order. Colors. Right. Face. Forward. March. Left. Your left. Your left. Right. Right on left. Part time. March. Guard. Up. Order. Colors.
Well, special thanks to Alderman Hanson for recruiting Reverend Wilson. Thank you. And thanks
I
for
didn't
coming.
know. I swear I did not know.
And Alderman Potts, thank you for arranging the color guard tonight. That was very special.
Yes, sir.
So now's an opportunity for citizens to make comments for items that are not on the agenda, and our tradition is to fill out a speaker card, present those to me or my staff, or our staff rather, and then we would recognize them. I have no speaker cards. So we'll go on to communications from the Williamson County Commission. I have none. I would ask as we go to approval of the minutes that we defer those minutes to the next meeting, which would be May the 24th, since they're not finished. So I would ask for that motion for the work session minutes and the Board of Mayor and Alderman minutes from April the 26th, 2022.
I move for approval as read.
Second.
Thank you. Appropriate motion.
Deferral. I'm sorry, as read for the deferral.
Thank you for clarification. So any discussion? You ready to vote? Alderman Peterson?
Yes.
Alderman Hanson?
Yes.
Alderman Barnhill?
Yes.
Vice Mayor?
Yes.
Alderman Berger?
Yes,
Alderman Brown?
Yes.
Alderman Potts?
Yes.
And Alderman Baggett?
Yes.
Passes unanimously. I have a number of recognitions tonight, primarily through proclamations. But before I start the list of proclamations, I do have a special recognition. This is an award that was presented to our city administrator, Eric Stuckey. He was the recipient of the 2022 Legacy Award in recognition of his steadfast support of the Fuller story and helping to give those in the past a voice in our time. And we certainly appreciate your leadership and persistence on that, and congratulations on the award, Mr. Stuckey. So we now have proclamation recognizing some people in our community that were helpful with Officer Finn. And I haven't looked to see who's here. I know Alderman Hanson is here. I don't know if Bobby Jocelyn, or Ali Hamyari, or John Sanzo are here.
Yep.
They are.
Yeah,
They are.
there.
Good. Oh, great. I'm sorry. Please come up. Alderman Hanson?
Blah, 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 blah.
I think I've started
your
something.
proclamation.
I think I've started something. So, well, listen up. Whereas volunteering one's time and resources has traditionally been and continues to be an elemental part of the essence and tradition of our country and is essential to its spirit and vitality. Whereas to achieve the kind of society we hope to build for ourselves and for our children, we must work together in a spirit of brotherhood and cooperation for the betterment of our citizens. And whereas Bobby Jocelyn, Alderman Gabriel Hanson, Ali Hamyari, and John Sanzo recently embodied this spirit of volunteerism by selflessly stepping up when one of our own city team members was in need. And whereas Franklin officer Sean Finn contracted COVID-19 during the holidays and was admitted to the hospital on New Year's Day, and whereas shortly after he was admitted to the hospital, his condition worsened and he was transported to JFK Hospital in South Florida to be placed on an ECMO machine, as there were no available ECMO machines in Tennessee or the surrounding area. And whereas after spending 81 days fighting for his life on the ECMO machine, Officer Finn made a miraculous recovery. However, the next hurdle was figuring out how do we bring Officer Finn back home. And whereas Bobby Jocelyn, Alderman Gabriel Hanson, Ali Hamyari, and John Sanzo jumped into action and arranged for the medical transport home of Officer Finn on a private jet, whilst also ensuring that the cost of the jet, fuel, a pilot, and staff were covered. And whereas because of the noble and compassionate acts of these four individuals, Officer Finn was able to safely return home to his family, including his wife and 2 daughters. Now, therefore, I, Dr. Ken Moore, Mayor of the City of Franklin, do hereby honor and thank these dedicated individuals who gave so freely of their valuable time, their energy, their resources and abilities, and urge our citizens to recognize the extraordinary work by these volunteers. Wow.
Can I say something, Mayor?
Absolutely. It's not as long as yah, yah, yah,
Blah,
yah.
blah, 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 blah. We'll cut it short. If you guys could have been there and witnessed this,
Bobby, step up to the mic.
if you guys could have been there and witnessed what we saw, when that officer got off that airplane, we did not know, I didn't think he could even walk, much less get off on his own. 2 oxygen tanks and his little girl come running up there. He held her, tears, there was not a dry eye. It was everything here. This man's really the guy that put this together. It was worth it, every bit of it. And that's what we should be doing, is taking care of our people when they need to be taken care of. So anyhow, I just want you to know it was worth everything we went through to see those tears coming down that officer's face and that little girl, oh, it was a beautiful picture. I only wanted to talk to the rest, I'm sorry.
Well, next we have a Public Works Week.
Mayor, I just wanted to say one thing.
Please do.
John Sanzo sends his regrets. He could not be here, but he's out flying someone else tonight. So,
Yeah.
but he.
It's very
he wanted-
touching.
He wanted to send us thank you.
And that's Franklin, Tennessee.
Yep.
We have so many giving people and so many people that care.
Exactly.
Public Works Week, Mr. Hilty and team.
How are you, sir?
I'm good. I love reading these. They're better than some of those captions y'all create.
Getting a lot of
For sure.
practice.
Whereas public works services provided in our community are an integral part of our citizens' everyday lives, and whereas the support of an understanding and informed citizenry is vital to the efficient operation of public works systems and programs such as transportation, water supply and treatment, solid waste systems, public parks and programs, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens. And whereas the health, safety, and comfort of this community greatly depends on these facilities and services. Whereas the quality and effectiveness of the planning, design, and construction of these facilities are vitally dependent upon the efforts and skill of public works professionals. And whereas this year, 2022, marks the 62nd Annual National Public Works Week sponsored by the American Public Works Association. Now therefore, I, Dr. Ken Moore, Mayor of the City of Franklin, do hereby proclaim May 15th through the 21st, 2022 as Public Works Week.
Thank you.
A long speech?
Yes, I have a very prepared, long
Yeah, I figured you would, Mr. Hilty.
I'm a very wordy person. Thank you so much.
Wow.
Of course, Michelle, Lisa, Nate, Steve unfortunately had to leave, but we work with a great team of people. They're dedicated. They will be here any time of the day, any day of the week. And I can't be more proud of them. Huge, wonderful thank you to them. So thanks. Appreciate it.
Building Safety Month.
Mark's complaining that he only got a week, not a month.
Well, remember where we're sitting under what roof?
Next time you'll request a month, go ahead.
Talk about building
Whereas,
safety.
whereas the city of Franklin recognizes that our growth and strength depend on the safety and essential role of our homes, buildings, and infrastructure play both in everyday life and when disasters strike. And whereas our confidence in the resilience of these buildings that make up our community is achieved through the efforts of dedicated professionals, building safety and fire prevention officials, architects, engineers, builders, tradespeople, laborers, and others in the construction industry who work year-round to ensure the safe construction of buildings. And whereas these professionals are dedicated members of the International Code Council, a nonprofit that brings together local, state, territorial, tribal, and federal officials who are experts in the built environment to create and implement the highest quality codes to protect us in the buildings where we live, learn, work, and play. Whereas these modern building codes include safeguards to protect the public from hazards such as hurricanes, snowstorms, tornadoes, wildfires, floods, and earthquakes, and whereas each year in observance of Building Safety Month, people all around the world are asked to consider the commitment to improve building safety, resilience, and economic investment at home and in the community, and to acknowledge the essential service provided to all of us by local and state building departments, fire prevention bureaus, and federal agencies in protecting lives and property. Now, therefore, I, Dr. Ken Moore, Mayor of the City of Franklin, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2022 Building Safety Month.
Y'all stay up for a second. If you'll indulge me for a moment. Good evening, Tom Marsh, Director of the Building and Neighborhood Service Department. I just want to take a chance to introduce the folks I have with me here tonight. Really, it's an honor to have them with me because these are some of the most important folks in the department, actually, the people who really do some of the hard work. First, Randy Tosh, who is our building official. Randy is the one individual of the over 30 people in the department. This is the guy who has the weight on his shoulders of making a decision when it comes down to the hard calls on the technical issues of building code, interpretation, and enforcement. Randy's the guy, so very important. Along with him, we have Roger Lehman, who is one of our 2 building inspection supervisors. So Roger and his team of inspectors are the folks out in the field every day, working with contractors, working with the homeowners, helping to bring their projects to fruition in accordance with all of the adopted codes that we have. So very important, challenging technical work on a daily basis. And many of you have met Shanna McCoy, our zoning and floodplain administrator, and similar to Randy's role with interpretation of building codes, Shanna is the one individual who is charged with making the decision, making the interpretation of the zoning ordinance and floodplain interpretations. So they are here with me, and I appreciate it, representing the over 30 people in the department engaged in that work. And we just thank you for this recognition, and thank you for the support you show us on a regular basis throughout the year. Thank you.
2 to go. This is for National Preservation Month, and see Barry Beasley here tonight, and Amanda Rose. I think you're in the preservation business, aren't you? Well, come on up. Okay, National Preservation Month. Mark Hilty, next time, ask a little more. Whereas historic preservation is an effective tool for managing growth and sustainable development, revitalizing neighborhoods, fostering local pride, and maintaining community character while enhancing livability. And whereas historic preservation is relevant for communities across the nation, particularly Franklin, site of 7 historic districts, and for all Americans of all ages, particularly the citizens of Franklin who preserve and support the Franklin Historic Districts as assets for our city, state, and nation. And whereas the preservation of historic architecture and landscapes helps define and promote Franklin's communal sense of identity, and whereas it is important to celebrate the role of history in our lives and the contributions made by dedicated individuals in helping to preserve the tangible aspects of the heritage that has shaped us as a people. And whereas the National Trust for Historic Preservation created the Preservation Month program in May of 1973 to spotlight preservation efforts on a local, state, and national level. Whereas the theme of the 2022 National Preservation Month is People Saving Places, which celebrates those who pour their time, energy, and resources into protecting the historic places they care about, often without recognition, in hopes that it will inspire and empower others to do the same. So now, therefore, I, Dr. Ken Moore, Mayor of the City of Franklin, do hereby proclaim May 2022 as National Preservation Month.
Thank you all. I just wanted to thank all the staff that I get to work with. I am blessed to work with the folks who are here representing National Building Month and also Public Works Week in order to help create a safe and inviting environment for all of us. We're really fortunate to have partners like Ms. Beasley and others who represent preservation nonprofits. I, of course, am the most excited to be able to work every single day with folks who want to save places. It matters to them at a soul level, and it couldn't be more fulfilling. So thank you for that, and thank you for preserving and supporting preservation efforts throughout the city.
I'll just say a quick word. I didn't know I was saying a word, but Barry Beasley with the Heritage Foundation. I just want everybody to know how much we appreciate all of you, Mayor Moore, the City of Franklin, as the Heritage Foundation gets to partner. We're in our 55th year in every day, saving the places that matter, working with folks in our community, and we just love what we do, and we're so glad to be a part of it. So thank you for this recognition tonight of preservation.
Okay, last one. Whereas Mental Health Awareness Month is observed nationally every May to raise awareness for mental health issues, decreasing the stigma surrounding it and encouraging those suffering to seek help. And whereas even before the pandemic, millions of Americans were experiencing stress, trauma, anxiety, and heightened levels of depression. And whereas the COVID-19 pandemic exacerbated these conditions, creating an unprecedented mental health crisis across our country. And whereas stigma and fear of discrimination keep many who would benefit from mental health services from seeking help, and whereas it is important to increase conversations surrounding mental health, and whereas Franklin can be a healthier, happier place to be for every resident by increasing education surrounding mental health and encouraging those who are struggling to seek help. Now, therefore, I, Dr. Ken Moore, Mayor of the City of Franklin, do hereby proclaim May 2022 as Mental Health Awareness Month. So. Any miscellaneous reports? Go ahead, Mr.
Mayor,
Stuckey.
while you're walking back, I want to touch on a couple dates, calendar events. While Public Works only gets a week, they're making the most of it. On May 20th, we have the annual Touch a Truck event, which is one of the best family events that we do all year. It'll be at Jim Warren Park from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. There'll be food, music, games. 5 to 6 is the no horns hour. So if the little ones don't like the horns, that's their time to be there. But it's a great event, one I try to make every year, and it's just so much fun to see so many kids and families out there and climbing all over stuff and enjoying seeing the equipment that helps us do our jobs every day. So enjoy Touch a Truck then. One thing that is not on our list of board meetings that I want to highlight is on May 21st, which is a Saturday morning, we are going to do part 2 of our Franklin tour that we're doing with the board. This is the south part of Franklin. A couple months ago, we did the northern section. We're looking at development and capital investment projects, infrastructure, to just see that together and talk through kind of where we are on different projects and different elements. So we look forward to doing that. That will officially be a special work session. We'll meet in this room on that Saturday morning and go from about 9 a.m. to noon, looking at projects and development and different things in the southern half of our community. And the other item I have is, Mayor, is there anything going on tomorrow morning?
You know, I was just thinking about that. I don't know what I'm going to do for State of the City. I'm looking for suggestions. So.
A couple
Yeah.
of blah,
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 blah.
blah.
Well,
It's easy.
thank you, Alderman Barnhill. Your comments are always kind of blah, blah, blah. We do have a State of the City tomorrow, and our communication teams really worked hard to create a very informative series of videos that highlight a lot of the things that's happened in the past year. Free breakfast, the doors open at 7. And then the actual program starts at 7:45. So I hope I'll see you there. It'll be broadcast live if you don't want to be out and about that early. But I hope to see you, and this is a special time for us to greet our citizens and inform our citizens about the great work that our city team is doing and the contributions that they've made to making Franklin that place it is, to live, work, raise their family, worship, all those things. But it's going to be fun, I promise you. And we have at least
It will not be
one or
boring.
two stars in here tonight. I don't want to mention Nate's name, but anyway. So I hope to see you there.
And at Rolling Hills.
At Rolling Hills
Yeah,
Church, yes.
On Columbia Avenue.
Yes.
Mayor, I have one more miscellaneous report.
Please, Alderman Baggett.
Saturday, May the 14th, is the Franklin Rodeo Parade. This is the 71st year that we will have celebrated the Franklin Inn Rotary's rodeo. So make plans to attend, and then the following week, the 19th, 20th, and 21st, will be the Franklin Rodeo, back after 2 years down from COVID. So it's exciting for the many Rotarians in the community, and want to let everybody know.
Mayor, one last thing. I want to recognize Hannah Lampola for writing an unofficial record number of proclamations of this meeting. Thank you, Hannah.
I echo that also.
We'll give her a few more.
Okay, I think we're down to the consent agenda. Yes, we are. And all items under the consent agenda are deemed to be non-controversial and routine in nature by the governing body. They will be approved as recommended by committee or staff by one motion of the governing body. Tonight, we're considering items number 10 through 15. I would entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second?
Such a unison.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3.
Alderman Potts, thank you for the motion. Alderman Baggett, thank you for the second.
It was Matt. Matt and second.
It's all right.
He needs this. Go ahead.
Blah, blah, blah. Alderman Brown made the motion
We're not
and
gonna get
Alderman
through
Potts
tonight without
seconded it.
this.
But there was a great, let the record show that Alderman Baggett was trying to get the
Down
second.
here.
He's just a little slow. All right, you ready to
It's like
vote?
this. It's like this, guys.
We'll start on the far end. Alderman Baggett.
Yes.
Alderman Potts.
Yes.
Alderman Brown.
Yes.
Alderman Berger.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
Alderman Hanson.
Yes.
Vice Mayor.
Yes.
Alderman Barnhill. Yes. Passes unanimously. We'll now go to new business, and this is a public hearing, consideration of Resolution 2022-10, a resolution amending the Orium PUD subdivision to extend the vested rights for the property located south of East McEwen Drive and west of Carruthers Parkway.
Good evening. So this request is to extend the vesting period for 2 years from June 24th of this year to June 24th of 2024. And that's in order to allow the applicant to secure final approval of the site plan and secure any necessary permits and begin site preparation. The applicant included in their request letter that they are encountering ever-changing market conditions and impacts from the COVID-19 pandemic as reasons for some delay in the progress. The applicant does intend to have a site plan approved, which is already under review. Permits pulled and site preparation begun by June 24th of this year, but they're asking for the vesting extension just in case these milestones take longer than anticipated over the next couple months or if unforeseen conditions arise. The staff recommends that BOMA approve this resolution if you determine that the continuation of vested rights is in the best interest of the community, and Planning Commission recommended approval by a vote of 8-0.
Very good. I have no speaker cards. I do see that the applicant is here. If there's no comments from the applicant, then we'll move on and close the public hearing now and entertain a motion.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Peterson, and thank you for the motion there, Alderman Berger. Any discussion? You ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Blanton.
Yes.
Alderman Hanson.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
Alderman Berger.
Yes.
Alderman Brown.
Yes.
Alderman Potts.
Yes.
Alderman Baggett.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. Item number 8, consideration resolution 2022-26, a resolution providing cost of living adjustment to the monthly benefit for retired recipients effective July 2022. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Alderman Barnhill.
Second.
Second by Alderman Hanson. Thank you. Open for discussion. Would you like to address the issue, Mr. Barnhill? Alderman Barnhill, do you want to make any comments, or
No,
just
we-
leave it
we-
open?
We discussed that in pension and trust, and discussed it in workshop, and I have nothing to add to that. I'm certainly in agreement with the percentage that we're doing.
Any other comments? You ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman, Vice Mayor Blanton. No. Alderman Hanson.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
Alderman Berger.
Yes.
Alderman Brown.
No.
Alderman Potts.
Yes.
And Alderman Baggett.
Yes.
Passes 6-2. We'll now
Ma-
go to,
I know I missed the opportunity there, but do you mind make a statement real quick? And that is just that we definitely needed to provide this increase. We've had a formula that we've always used. I trust the pension committee. I think you guys brainstormed that, a unanimous vote on that. I think in this scenario, I just would have liked to have seen us stay with our formula through these unprecedented times and make an adjustment at a later date. You know, had I not been a little bit distracted in the last work session, I might have had that conversation, but we were walking into a pretty busy meeting that night. So just the reason I voted no was I would have preferred us to stay with our normal formula for this one, but certainly do appreciate and support an increase of some sort. So my 2 cents.
thank you.
Yep.
Item number 9, consideration procurement award to Landscape Services LSI of Nashville, Tennessee, and the total estimated annual amount of $403,200 for mowing and related contract services for certain city parks and certain other city-owned properties for a term of award for the Parks Department. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve, Mayor.
Second. Second.
Thank you, Alderman Baggett. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman, Vice Mayor Blanton. Yes. Alderman Hanson.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
Alderman Berger.
Yes.
Alderman Brown.
Yes.
Alderman Potts.
Yes.
Alderman Baggett.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. I now need a motion to go into executive session.
Mr. Mayor, may I make a motion before that, please?
Uh,
Can we, before we end the meeting and to go in, can we, I'd like to make a motion to reconsider a previous action tonight?
Appropriate motion?
Because
Which
I'd like
action
to
are you?
have a discussion a little bit further on the last comment that Alderman Brown said. Okay, thank you. And may may I tell you why? I think that.
Vice Mayor, second.
Second. The reason I'm asking for the reconsideration of the item for the monthly benefit retirement is because Alderman Brown gave his opinion after the vote.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I think it is appropriate to have that opinion before the vote so that we can consider his opinion. And we did not have the luxury of having that opinion before our vote. So I'd like to reconsider the previous action for a new vote that we may have the discussion. And is there any other thing that we need to do, Attorney?
Parliamentary guidance.
Is that,
It's a motion.
So now you vote.
Yes, okay.
And if a majority of you want to reconsider it,
Yeah.
then you can do that. Otherwise, it's over and we move on.
and the vote may not change, I just think we owe it to have the discussion at the appropriate time and not after the vote.
Okay, the motion is to reconsider item number 8. And that's what you'll be voting on, whether to reconsider it. So we'll do a roll call vote.
It's just to
Unless
reconsider
there's
the vote.
discussion on reconsidering. Alderman Barnhill.
No.
Vice Mayor Blanton.
Yes.
Alderman Hanson.
This is the motion to reconsider, correct?
Yes.
No.
Alderman Peterson.
No.
Alderman Berger.
Yes.
Alderman Brown.
Yes.
Alderman Potts.
Yes.
Alderman Baggett.
Yes.
Item passes to reconsider, 5-3.
All right.
So we'll now go back to the item number 8. Is there a motion?
Can we,
You can,
It's like you're starting over.
yeah.
Starting
So
over.
we need a motion.
Yes.
Second.
Need a motion to approve or not approve.
it's approve or not approve, there's no opportunity to amend.
You can do whatever you want. It's back on the
You
table.
can. Make a motion to amend.
Mr. Mayor,
Need a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to move for consideration for item number 8 on the agenda, sir.
And I'll second that.
Appropriate
Yeah,
motion,
with your
second.
amendment.
Would you like to make comments,
There you
Alderman Potts?
Yes,
It's
sir.
open.
Seeing as, since I made the motion. I understand what Alderman Berger is stating. I sat here and thought the same thing, and I have full respect for Alderman Brown and his comments after the vote. I personally actually had some concerns about whether or not more discussion was needed, even though this had moved through proper committees and moved to the board here. I think it is worth us having a conversation. I know that I've actually taken a look at this cost of living adjustment, and I know that we're in very challenging financial times and inflation words being thrown around, but I certainly don't want to shortchange any of our retirees as we're moving forward. But I also want to respect what the commission has done, so that's how I'll open up our discussion.
Other comments? Vice Mayor?
I made my feelings clear the last time we talked about this. I know we have two different buckets, or however you want to say it, the way we handle our retirees, and this is one that was the beginning. And I just think, with the world we've been living in, the way things have changed, everybody needs a little bit of extra help. So now is not the time to take that opportunity away. I do know that 6.5 is where we were going to settle.
If you did the calculation the way you've done it the previous 10, 12 years, that number's about 6.47%.
So I will make an amendment to the motion to raise that to whatever you just said,
6.47.
Yes.
Second.
Appropriate amendment, an appropriate second by Alderman Brown.
Yes, sir.
Discussion on the amendment of amending it, the value to 6.47%.
Versus what?
Any discussion on that?
Yes.
Alderman Barnhill.
You're raising it more.
Yeah, we, at the Pension and Trust Committee, we sat and
You're
looked
raising
at
it
this,
more?
and certainly, I would say massaged it for no other
Oh, so
reason,
I
no
see
other
it.
word to use. And what this does is, this could adversely affect years down the road. You're going into a closed pension fund, you're raising it, we're already raising it to 4.5%. Now, if that's the case, there's also been years where we've given cost of living that the employee did not get a raise. You make sure you understand that. You're not just out here just willy-nilly throwing 2.5% or whatever it is at this. If we thought that was the effective responsibility, and that we were not possibly jeopardizing the long-term closed pension fund by raising it to 6.47, and that was all explained to us. That's the reason we settled on the 4.5. Basically, it was a recommendation of the city administrator. I don't think it makes a heck of a difference to me whether it's 6.47 or 4.45. My responsibility, your responsibility, the mayors on the committees, is to make sure that the long-term viability of that fund does not run out before you have all of the people on the closed pension plan come off and go to the new pension plan. And you've got several hundred people that before it does all of that. So, certainly if you take the 2% we get 2% a couple of years ago, no employee increase, you're getting your 6.5. If they'd have gotten exactly what the cost of living was 2 years ago or 3 years ago, which they did not, they got more.
Other comments?
Mr. May, one other thing that was said whenever we were discussing this is that the other people that are now in retirement plan for the city of Franklin are covered by the Tennessee Consolidated Retirement System, which I happen to be a retiree under that, but also it was stated that they cap their increase at 3%. they have not just given, you know, whatever was the cost of living change in any one year like that. That they have not gone to do that. And the only thing that I have said about that is that the state of Tennessee and the consolidated retirement system is one supposedly of the best run and financed in the United States. And so this would be a fair amount of money. I mean, you know, just the 4.5%, I don't have it right in front of me, but wasn't it like $300,000 or something for the whole year?
Please.
If I may just give some commentary. What we looked at was, because the 4.5% cost of living for 2022 actually gets, the rules that we follow gets amortized over a 20-year period, and that amortizes as $181,000 a year. The 6.5% amortizes at $324,000.
Okay.
And we were talking about the sensitivity between 4.5 and 6.5, and that's a difference of about $160,000 a year. So certainly there is a difference between 6.5 and 4.5. And we did provide some of that sensitivity in the conversation with the pension committee back April 11th.
And we also, you know, to really go back into the weeds, the city of Franklin is basically paying this. In other words, for many, many, many years, the employee paid zero into it. And it was only up until, and I don't know when this was, but they started paying part of it themselves.
That's true.
So in other words, it's totally on the city to come up with this money.
And that was for hire dates before, if an employee was hired between 2010 and 2016, that's the group that has an employee contribution of 5%.
That's right.
Employees hired from the early part of 2010 and back did not have an employee contribution.
Oh, in other words, you were employed here by the city, paid zero into the retirement. Whereas for the rest of us, I know we paid money out of our salaries into retirement.
Alderman Brown.
I appreciate that, Alderman Barnhill. I'm certainly not trying to disrupt a plan or create instability in that. But I still have to say, $160,000 a year, we just spent 10 minutes here at the start of this meeting talking about how Franklin's different. We take care of our people. And $160,000 a year, I get it, but we take good care of our people. And these are people who took good care of us for a long time. So even though I'll trust that folks will manage this accordingly and that we'll make sure that we don't have ill effects, and we got brilliant staff that can do so, I think I'll stay with where I'm at.
If I could ask for some, the staff report says that this costs $26,000 a month at 4.5%, or $312,000 over a 12-month period.
And that's actually based on the cash value of the total of the total amount of the 4.5%, because what we're looking at is based off of what we were actually we actually did that calculation off of the March payroll that we made to retirees. So that is the cost of doing doing a COLA of 4.5% compared to what the current payroll is. And then, of course, what we also asked from our actuary was looking at the amortization costs, and that's what I was just talking about, the 4.5 and the 6.5, because any benefit increase that is given has to be amortized, and the best practice of amortizing is over a 20-year period. So what we talked about, what we have in the staff report, is if we do a COLA, because of course the closed plan does not require giving a COLA, so we have to actually give you what the current amount for the next 12 months would be if you award a COLA, because that is at the discretion of the board and to be approved by resolution. It's not an automatic cost of living increase in the plan.
Mayor?
Go ahead, and then I'm going to ask Mr. Stuckey to
Oh,
make a
go ahead,
comment.
ask.
He wanted to make a comment, but
I'd
I'm going
like
to
to
ask
hear-
you to go ahead first.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. I think this is, I've had a lot of questions on this as well. I would differ in that it is absolutely vital that we take close and certain look as to whether or not we're well funding or not funding a plan.
Yeah.
Because that is, because look around, go pick up go Google and Wall Street Journal and go find the pensions that are underwater, and those employees are getting half of what. And it's, you know why? It's because boards make decisions without, looking at whether or not plans are funded. So it is absolutely, and we can't just have it is not a blank check to continue to fund these things. And we're in a period of time where inflation is off the rails. So I would certainly be open to looking at this as amended, but this board needs to seriously look at the formula, because this will not be the last year that we have this situation. We'll have it next year, probably. I'm not a forecaster, but we should certainly look at that, and I think that has been what I'd heard at most pension plans. You know why TCRS is one of the most well-funded is because they have some controls in place for runaway inflation, and we do not. And then we're faced with these decisions. It needs to be fair to the employees. It needs to be fair to the plans. So they have a plan in the future. But the precedent of just funding it on this formula that clearly had not been tested in a high inflationary period, I think we just need to relook at that. But I certainly felt like we could have done more, especially knowing how high inflation is. But we cannot sit here and say, and just have we need a better policy on this moving forward, I think, from a formula standpoint, and a cap or some sort of guideline where we're not sitting here arbitrarily on a Tuesday night deciding between 4.5 and 6.5. There's math behind all this, and it's impactful math.
Right.
Appreciate that. Go ahead, Alderman Berger.
Thank you for reconsidering this, because I think this is a great discussion. I think this is something we really need to have. I'm not necessarily changing my vote. I just wanted the discussion because I think it's only fair that discussions are had between the first and second of a motion. So, looking at this again, in here, I'm reading the financial impact. I trust our actuaries, I trust our financial director here, the pension committee. It says in here, we must also maintain the fiscal financial solvency of the closed plan, both now and into the future. Increasing benefits is a slightly higher amount than planned, and our actuarial valuations will result in an increased unfunded net liability. Just want to point that out because I think those are really important words to consider. I won't be changing my vote on this. I just thank you for the discussion. I think we owe it to ourselves, we owe it to our board, we owe it to the public to have this discussion. Thank you.
If I might weigh in just a little bit, I've been sitting on the pension committee for a long time and have worked under Chairman Barnhill in that committee, and the goal of that committee for a long, long time is to make sure that the pension funds are there for our retired employees whenever they retire. And if you remember, we've had a number of actions by our board to fund the pension committee, fund the pension with extra money. We issued pension bonds to get closer to 100% funding for our pension plan. We've listened to the actuaries who advise us as far as what our financial obligations are looking into the future. We see the stock market, which is significantly decreased, so automatically our long-term obligation is going up. What we have to put into that because the valuation is gone. I agree with Alderman Baggett that there ought to be some cap. There may be too much leeway, which has created kind of a gray area since it's we've usually done a cost of living based on the cost of living increases, and I think maybe we do need to put a cap similar to what the Tennessee Retirement Program has done. I take this responsibility very seriously, sitting on that pension committee, that we want to make sure that we have managed those monies appropriately, and that's why we sit there and listen to all the reports. So I think that it is challenging times, but we're creating, my concern is we create more of a problem long-term for other boards and other retirees by doing this. So, Mr. Stuckey, did you want to make a comment?
I'll just add a couple comments that I think relate to the last couple that we've had. Certainly, this is something the board gets to decide. We've adopted sort of a pattern of doing this annually based on a calculation, but as the pension is written, it's up to you when you do it and how you do it, and so we respect that guidance. Couple things I would highlight, as the mayor just said, the board has been really good stewards of this fund, and there have been multiple times in the 13-plus years I've been with you that the board has put additional support into the pension fund to bolster it, and we are grateful for that. And that has put us in a position, all those actions collectively has put us in a position where today it's 90% plus funded. That's a good thing. I would agree you need to have a policy overall. Decide how you want to handle this today. We know the formula change is more sudden, but we've had some change. Having some kind of guidance or cap on this is the best practice because it allows us to plan for the future. Because this isn't just about the 280-some people that are on the pension today and drawing on it. It's about the 480 that are vested and will be in the future drawing on it. So having those parameters in place helps us plan what we need to put in over the long haul so it stays viable and strong. So, you all make the decision how you want to do it tonight. I would say we should have a policy guidance that helps us make that clear to everybody. And I understand the more the quick nature of this decision, that we haven't had the opportunity to communicate it because things changed on us more abruptly than we would have expected. And that is what we're dealing with. So I would just offer that feedback to you that decide how you want to handle it in this specific instance, but having a broader policy does help us manage the health of the fund over the long haul, whether that's 4.5% as a cap or something else. But it was a judgment call. I think Patrick asked me the other day about how'd you get 4.5. I mean, essentially 50% of what TCRS, higher than what TCRS provides, seemed to be a pretty good place to start at least. But we welcome your guidance both on the immediate and then having some kind of guardrail on the inflationary side, I think is a best practice, and I would recommend we do that as well.
One more comment. I'm going to vote in favor of the amendment because, 2 reasons. One, because I feel like we're following the formula. When we've ever deviated from the formula in the past, it seems like we've deviated to the benefit of the employee. But I want us to come up with a policy that so we don't deviate to the detriment of the employee. I'm all for, but deviating for the benefit of the employee in the past, which is Alderman Barnhill said, most impactful thing here, but they've gotten increases when they shouldn't have in the past. But it's always benefited them. This is one deviation from the formula that is not in line, and so, but I wholeheartedly agree with the city administrator. We need a policy, or else we'll be doing this for years. We're doing this high inflation.
Now, what is the motion?
The motion is to...
Amendment.
It's an amendment to amend the original motion to read 6.47% increase.
And Mr. Mayor, I have a point of order, more of parliamentary procedure. If tonight we choose, let me back this up and actually provide a comment to introduce the question. I actually think that we may be making a hasty decision to move from 4.5 to 6.47 so quickly, sitting here without actually looking at what the numbers are. I would not vote in favor of the amendment. With that said, I would be in favor of deferring item number 8 on our agenda if it can be implemented in July. So it gives us a week to 2 weeks to review, if that helps the other board members to move forward to make this decision.
So Christine and I had a little discussion earlier this week, anticipating this possibility.
Okay.
We would need you to act by next meeting. So if you want to defer it, okay, but for the mechanism to work, we really need the decision made for this year by the 24th. So we could still get it done if we allowed another 2 weeks, if you wanted that time. But going past that really gets us into a little bit of a bind to get everything done that needs to get done so that retirees get whatever you decide on that, starting that July check.
And so what, for clarification, in alignment with this, if today is the 10th, the final vote for this would need to be concluded by May the 24th.
2 weeks from now, next meeting.
So in that case, Mr. Mayor, I would actually make a motion to defer item number 8 as it currently reads to the May 24th board meeting, so that the individuals that are proposing the amendment would have the opportunity to sit down with staff or to be provided details from staff to make that decision based on what their needs are.
Point of order, do we not need to vote on the amendment here, the motion that we have
No,
before?
motion to defer, it trumps all
It'll
other
trump-
motions.
Yeah,
Trumps all
okay.
other ones.
All right.
Trumps them all, so.
Yeah,
So
it's
there's
not-
a
sorry, I just
motion to
wanted to-
defer item number 8 to the meeting of May the 24th, 2022 by Alderman Potts. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Peterson. Any discussion on the deferral?
What additional, I mean, she's given us the 20-year financial impact,
And $160-something.
$166,000 a year, 20 years amortized. Is that, I don't know, what other additional?
Well, let me say to you, we have not even talked about this. This came into the closed program, just came into being, what? How many years ago?
2017.
Yeah, 2017. So really, we need to get back and look at a lot of things. In other words, this has just started for us,
Well,
basically 5 years ago.
But
No, we've
it
been
became
doing-
closed 5 years ago,
That's what
but
I
it's
mean.
the same pension program
No,
you've
no.
had for
No,
many years.
but the question is, was there a policy on how much they raised it every year?
You have a practice over the last probably 12 years of doing a certain inflationary calculation and applying it in March of the year and applying it effective July of that same year. So we have a practice over 12 years that has been done the same way.
Mr. Mayor?
But it's not in your pension document or requirements.
Are your
Didn't you say
comments
that they gave
referring
more
to the
than?
deferral?
Yes.
They
Go
gave,
ahead.
and we gave some increases in years where we deferred an employee increase. We stayed to this formula, and so we may have not done anything for employees at that time, but we did it for retirees because we were doing that same calculation pretty faithfully.
Question on the deferral for Christine, if we defer this, are you going to bring us back any additional information that we don't have tonight on those numbers? Is there anything that would
I'd like to
be
hear
more
how much we're putting in.
Would there be more
Every
clarification
year.
that
About
would
5
benefit us, or is this enough?
All right, do you want to hear this? I just asked how much we're putting in from the budget every year, 5.5 million?
5.1 is what's in the new budget, the proposed budget is
And that's coming-
$5.1 million to
That's coming
support the
from our
closed
general
pension
fund
plan.
every year.
For
Yeah.
the pension?
For pension,
So
All right,
so there are some more
so
things to
my
think
question-
about.
for the closed fund.
So
Yeah.
my question is, what are you, in order for me to vote on this deferral, what would you bring us that would be helpful, or do we have all we need?
I mean, I'm certainly glad to, have discussions, bring, maybe if there's any questions about these, how the calculations are done by the actuary. I mean, it would just be more expanding or answering questions that you
But
may
the
have.
numbers would remain the same.
But the numbers remain the same.
All right,
Just be.
how many of you knew that it was going to be 5.5 million out of our general fund this year?
Well, those of us who sat on the Budget and Finance
That's
Committee
right,
would
but
have
the
had-
rest of us did
would have
not.
had some idea as to what it was going
No,
to be.
I certainly did
But
not
those
know.
numbers had to come from the actuary before you could put them into the budget. That's
So
the-
we're
The only
talking
number,
about the
the number
deferral.
here, I'm sorry, Mayor, may I say something?
I'd like comments on the deferral.
On the deferral.
Yeah.
To the question of additional information, all else is the same, except, all what you're saying is true, Alderman Peterson, except that doing the 6.47 will be $166,000 more amortized over 20 years. The rest of the
I'm
plan
not
is,
sure I understand what that means.
okay, and that's fine. But, I don't know what else, again, to defer, what additional we would,
Mr. Mayor, I'd like,
If I may,
I'd like-
I need to provide the purpose for the deferral. The purpose for the deferral is simply to provide those to say, if the state of Tennessee is capping at 3%, and we are willing to
We
go
already
to
know
4.5, but a motion was made to take us to 6.47, there is a large gap right there of flex that can be, there's some percentages right there where we may, after review, or individuals after they do their review, they may find, something 6.47 is too high. Maybe it needs to be 5.25. Maybe it needs, and I'm not trying to create what ifs, but what I am trying to say is, there was so much dissent. There needed to be more discussion and more information presented.
Mr. Mayor, I call the question on the deferral.
Ready to vote? And what we're voting on is the deferral. Alderman Barnhill.
No.
Vice Mayor Blanton.
No.
Alderman Hanson.
No.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
Alderman Berger.
No.
Alderman Brown.
Yes.
Alderman Potts.
Yes.
Alderman Baggett.
no?
Tie vote, 4-4.
I think it's 5-3.
5-3.
3-5.
3.
Alderman Peterson, how did you vote?
I voted yes to defer.
Alderman Brown, how did you vote?
Yes.
Alderman Potts, how did you vote?
Yes.
Alderman Baggett, how did you vote?
No.
I record you're wrong. Passes, it fails 5-3.
Okay.
So we'll go back to the original amendment. You're so far away, I didn't hear you all. Yeah,
Blah, blah,
blah,
right?
blah, blah.
We got to get back to the
Started
blah,
something. So
blahs.
we're back to the original amendment, to the original motion to change the value to 6.47%. Are you ready to vote?
Yes.
Everybody clear on what you're voting on? Alderman Barnhill.
No.
Vice Mayor Blanton.
Yes.
Alderman Hanson.
No.
Alderman Peterson.
No.
Alderman Berger.
No.
Alderman Brown.
Yes.
Alderman Potts.
No.
Alderman Baggett.
Yes.
It fails 5-3. We'll now go back to the original motion. Any further discussion on the original motion? You ready to vote?
Yes.
Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Blanton.
No.
Alderman Hanson.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
Alderman Berger.
Yes.
Alderman Brown.
No.
Alderman Potts.
Yes.
And Alderman Baggett.
No.
Passes 5-3. I now consider a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Seconded.
Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton. Vice Mayor Blanton.
Yes.
Alderman Hanson.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
Alderman Berger.
Yes.
Alderman Brown.
Yes.
Alderman Potts.
Yes.
Alderman Baggett.
Yes.
Okay, let's go into executive session. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, we're back from executive sessions. Are there any actions from executive session we need to consider? Alderman Potts.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I would like to make a motion, please, sir, for a joint dismissal for each to pay their own expenses in the Eli Aguilar lawsuit, please.
Appropriate motion?
Second.
Is that a appropriate motion? Good. Okay, any discussion? Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Vice Mayor Blanton.
Yes.
Alderman Hanson.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
Alderman Berger.
Yes.
Alderman Brown.
Yes.
Alderman Potts.
Yes.
Alderman Baggett.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Appropriate motion is second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you. Good night.
Flash
Good night. Blah, blah, blah.